Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Naaman with the DC camp, a branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. But first and foremost, call hello Yahweh by Shem Yahushai by Shemer Kahakwadash, and of course, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who were well. I have to also send out salutations to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and the byways, all right, pushing this truth. Also, a numerous amount of videos that are uploaded that assist in getting this word out across the four corners of the earth. And we do this in the hopes that it will wake up the remaining, hopefully, lack of our people. But before this, I'm going to be using the video. So as you see, the copyright disclaimer. Please forgive my voice. Looks like it's the onset of a cold. It says, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right. So there you go. So what we're going to be discussing this morning is a video here. This is from Emancipation Media. One of Philip Scott's channels from his podcast. And it's called The Hard Truth. And this is, the same thing we've been saying Great Millstone has for decades. But you jakes don't listen to us. So, per usual, hey, we use this, and this is just for teaching purposes, of course. Don't know this gentleman here, but what he says is absolutely true. But he's not able to make the spiritual connection. That's the only thing. So here we go. Let's get to it.
I want y'all to watch this video of the financial phenomenon of John Hope Bryant tell the absolute truth. Check it out.
The 40 million black people in America are the role models for 1.8 billion black people in the world. When we say something's cool, it's cool in Tibet. When we say something's a dud, it's a dud in North Korea. We have mastered culture, community, and cool and creativity, yes or no? So now all we have to do is switch, become bilingual, and master capitalism, commerce, and a new community.
It's not that
Don't
simple.
go from rocking the mic to owning it. So I want you just to shift your brain. In other words, you are the capital. You already have what you need. When you walk in a room, you are unique.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to be you.
So, of course, he tells the truth.
Yes, and he's not able to take it any further than that. And what I mean by that, he's not able to make the connection as to who we really are and why these things are happening. All right. Why certain people took our identity, all right, and never allowed us to build any type of institutions for ourselves, and thereby generate wealth that would be passed down. There's no accident that these things have happened to us. And again, he's not making the connection. He's not able to. That's why I say it's more than just, this knowledge of the world that you go to these universities to get. It's far more to it than that. And there's plenty of scriptures on that. 1 Corinthians, first chapter, from 18 on down goes into that. The wisdom of the world, etc., etc. 1 Corinthians, second chapter, verses 10 on down, about the natural man not understanding the spiritual things. All right. In the Apocrypha, there's many. There's so many. All right. But, he's right. From going from rocking the mic to owning it. But you leave out the curses. Like I said, there's more to this. All right. Thereby, do you really think the people that are over us, that stole our identities, you think they're going to allow this? Because they run this world. As it says in Job 9:24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right? You really think. See, this man is being exposed. I'm talking about this so-called white man. That's the nation of Edom in the scriptures. He knows his time is short. So you're seeing these things happen. All right? And for those that have spiritual eyes that can see, you understand what was going on. You understand just how dangerous the time is that we're going into. All right, Revelation 12th chapter. All right, verse 12. He knoweth he hath a short time. All right, and therefore he's going to unleash holy hell. All right, meaning, very bad times on the world, because he knows, this is the end of his rule. That part of it is simple. All right, and there's no other book that tells you that other than the scriptures. That's why these devils, their book is the Talmud. They know that they're Edom. They know that they have no. It tells you in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, Edom is the only neighbor of the Edomites that is promised no mercy. None. They know this. After all they've done, especially to our people, which happens to be the Lord's people. Zechariah 2:8, right? The apple of the Most High is eye. All right? There's no coming back from what they did. There's no repentance for them. It tells you that in Hebrews 12th chapter, verses 16 and 17. There's no repentance. There's no salvation for these so-called white people, which we stress is Edom. It's not about a color. All right? For the simple fact, it's simple biology. If you've been amongst a certain people for generation after generation and generation, you look like them physically, but you're not, because as long as that male lineage continues, all right, it doesn't matter what you look like, as long as your line goes back to the Israelites. And that fucks a lot of people up because they've been on this black shit for so long. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a black person. There's no such thing as a white person. All right? Those are social constructs to keep you in that box. You wonder why other people of dark complexion, dark hue, don't call themselves black. Because they're not. They know this. Oh, if you understand what black means, my goodness. But in any case, let's continue on.
About a lot of stuff, and he is really a juggernaut in the black community in trying to wake us up about a whole host of things, including money, right? But there specifically,
again, wake you up to to things that at the end of the day are not really important. Money. This whole system is about to collapse. They're going digital. And you have to understand, this is a whole nother video, but the Talmud, the Jewish mystical, what's called Kabbalah, the end game of Kabbalah is a digital world, which is what we're going into. Digital. Once that is implemented, all right, it's a whole new take on slavery. That's why Daniel 12:1 and Isaiah 13th chapter and many other scriptures are there. It's going to be a time like no other. Think about that digital system. At the touch of a button, I can cut you completely off. There is no working under the table, so to speak. Everything is cataloged. They know where you're getting your money, where your money is going to. at all times. In other words, they are trying to be the Most High. That's Isaiah 14th chapter, that's 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter, and others. This is what the end game is. And I just happened to ask my dear old friend, no, I'm just kidding, ChatGPT, because our people fail to understand slavery never ended for us. Let me repeat, slavery never ended for us. That Emancipation Proclamation bullshit, and that's just what it is. That's not even what emancipation means in the sense, in the context. All right. Wow. All right. I asked ChatGPT, how did child slavery evolve to what it is in 2025? Because that's all is what happened. It evolved. It changed clothes. All right. And we get into the origins of child slavery. We're talking about 1400s to the 1800s. All right. But did it stop there? No. It says child slavery, gives you the origins here. Child slavery means people treated as property. Remember what he said. Go from rocking the mic to owning it. But who's behind the music industry? Who is behind all of these top level rappers and entertainers? The Jewish. They, of course, know who we are because they stole our identity. Who do you think financed the slave trade? Duh. They had to get us out the way. They knew who we were. All those rabbis, all the centuries that they studied, going from the 8th century on up until the 11th century, when they started calling themselves rabbis and shit like that. Yeah. Yeah. Child slavery means people treated as property that could be bought, sold, and inherited, passed down generation to generation. Then you get into European colonialism, like I said, 1400 to the 1800s. Portugal and Spain, which were ruled by what? After they got Jake out of there, our people, Edomites took over. I.e. your Spaniards and those people are currently, those are Edomites. All right, so-called white people. Same people, just different tribes. Your Germans, your Danish, your Italians, your French, Spaniards, Portuguese now, Australians, all these people are Edomites. South Africans, all right, your Americans, so-called white Americans. Wherever these people go, there's bullshit. That's Malachi 1 and verse 4. All right, they're the border of wickedness. All right. It says Portugal and Spain began enslaving, and it says here Africans, but it's not. That's a play on it's Israelites, it's Hebrews, not Hamites. Two different bloodlines. To work in colonies later joined by Britain, France, and others. Again, those tribes that are, at the end of the day, they're all Edomites. All right. Then you got the transatlantic. All right. Enslaved people were dehumanized legally and socially. Their children born into slavery. This, of course, is unlike any other slavery before, because that was not the case then. You were not born into it. You could buy, you could purchase your freedom. You had a certain, especially they make the connection with Africa. That was a indentured. You paid off a debt. You were as far as you were a victim of war or whatever have you. Slavery is crucial to building the economies of the Americas. You have to ask yourself a question that should be simple. But in the case of our people, we've been brainwashed and gaslighted so much. Why are you trusting the information you're getting from your oppressor? Why are you taking that as gospel? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Slavery is crucial to building the economies of the Americas. For those that say, well, no, it was the immigrants. Okay, whatever. Especially in the U.S., Brazil, and the Caribbean. Abolition, all right. Got to deal with that. They like to think, well, it was white people that banded together to slave. Well, what we were just sitting idly by and not doing anything during that time to try to free ourselves. There weren't revolts and rebellions, whatever have you, during these times. Okay, whatever. See, they like to do shit in order for them to pat themselves on the back. Oh, no. It says, but freedom didn't bring equality. Instead, racial hierarchies and systems like sharecropping, convict leasing, this is what happened after 1865. People don't like to talk about it. Well, no one was a slave that's living today. That's living today. Of course not. No one's saying that, but you see how they like to frame this shit. I'm not giving you reparations for slavery. No. What happened after that? Sharecropping, convict leasing, which still goes on today. Colonial labor kept many formerly enslaved people economically trapped, as is what's going on to this very day. Post-slavery transformations. After chattel slavery, what did I just say? After chattel slavery ended, Jim Crow, and colonial rule, Africa, Caribbean, Asia, preserved racialized control. Economic systems still relied on cheap labor and exploitation, still to this day, especially of formerly enslaved peoples and their descendants. This continues today. Mass incarceration, debt peonage, and forced labor became new forms of control. White supremacy ultimately is about control. In fact, was it the show back in the day, Get Smart? What were the two opposing? Let's see, you had control and you had chaos, wasn't it? Okay. It says enforced labor became new forms of control that some historians call neo-slavery. And indeed it is. All right. No new thing under the sun, right? It just evolves. It just changes. Human trafficking for labor and sex became a global issue. People were still bought and sold, though illegally. Same thing going on where you think the Epstein files are about. Modern slavery in 2025. It says by 2025, child slavery as a legal institution no longer exists. But modern slavery in different forms still affects tens of millions worldwide. Forced labor in agriculture, that's Northern Kingdom, construction, mining, and manufacturing. And look what they did. All this that you saw the last 4 or 5 years was done on purpose. This was, and look what's happening. They set these people up. These are our brothers and sisters, ultimately. All right, even though they're not in their right frame of mind, but still, those are Israelites. It goes into that in 2 Kings 17th chapter, the beginnings of it, and 2 Ezra's 13th chapter, starting at verse 39 on down. It tells you how they came over here, all right, to what was then unoccupied. Nobody lived here before circa 700, 710, 720 BC. They might have came over here from that, and even in the time of Solomon, roughly 300 years prior to this event, sent Hamites over here. All right. What was his name? Is it in 1 Kings 8? Oh man, the architect. God dang it. That was responsible for building structures for what is his name? God dang it, I can't remember. But that was a Hamite. That's not an Israelite. But he worked for King Solomon. and they would come over here. It tells you in the scriptures that each way was a year and a half. So that was 3-year total traveling time. They came over here to the Americas to get certain things, and they went back. But no one was living here. All right. Debt bondage, where workers can't leave due to debts. Human trafficking for sexual exploitation or forced work. Child slavery in conflict zones and illegal economies. State-imposed labor, such as in prisons or authoritarian regimes. Still to this day, cheap labor. 2, well, I know one good prison movie. Unfortunately, it's about my home state. One of the great prison, classic prison movies of all time. And it's called Brubaker. All right. It was made in the late 70s. Around 79. I believe it came out in 80. All right. And it goes into the state-imposed labor of the prisons. All right. Classic movie. It's basically an all-star cast. I think that was my first time seeing Morgan Freeman in a movie. He came from the Electric Company. I remember that. But Robert Redford, every now and then I'll make reference to that movie. But that was one of the all-time great prison movies. That goes into this, it's fucked up. But anyway, it says about 50 million people live under modern slavery conditions. This includes 27 million in forced labor and 22 million in forced marriages. Major drivers: poverty, migration, vulnerability. And you saw that with the Northern Kingdom coming up from Panama. What is that called? The something gap. It might come to me. Poverty, migration, vulnerability, war, and global demand for cheap goods and services. The legacy of chattel slavery, even without legal ownership of people, the psychological, economic, and structural effects of slavery still shape the world. Persistent racial inequality, and why would you want to be equal to savages, to cave people? These people, they're not going to be saved. They will be saved they've got 1,000 years to do, and then they're going to be wiped off the face of the earth. That's in the book of Obadiah. They're going to be rounded up and burned up. There will be no more need for the wicked. All right? I'm talking about the wicked. It says persistent racial inequality and wealth gaps, especially in the Americas. There's a reason for that. There's ongoing institutional racism and colorism, cultural and intergenerational trauma among descendants of enslaved people. It's something someone said the other day, and you have to understand, Jake is compassionate to a fault. By contrast, these so-called white people, they were created, they don't give a fuck. They can act, and they have institutions of that. It's Hollywood. It's the Academy Awards. It's acting. They're hypocrites. One of the definitions of hypocrite is actor. Duh. These people are incapable of empathy, of feeling remorse. Psalms 58, verses 2 and 3. All right, let's get that real quick. These are people that are incapable of, let's just get it. You have to understand the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath to really get what I'm going at here. This is Psalms 58 and 2. I might as well start at 1. It says, the Most High who judges the earth, to the chief musician, Altus Shits. Well, anyway, do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Those are the questions. 2, yea, in heart ye work wickedness. Ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. Let's go into that. Let's see. Estranged from, let's go to that strange. What does that mean? Strong's H2114. All right. Zawar. All right. Hence to be a foreigner, strange, profane. Doesn't that not describe the nation of Edom in Hebrews 12th chapter? They're profane. That means outside the temple. All right. Adultery. That goes into your idolatry. That's what they're all about. All right. Another way of being profane. Fanner. Oh, they love that. They're experts at being fanners. And what I mean by that, let's go to what is a fanner? We know simply when you use the bellows in a fireplace or pit, what does it do? As a fanner, you do that to what? Let's get the Collins. Keep the fire going, increase in intensity. You know, a personal thing that fans. Let's go deeper. If we can, I might have to go to another one. I like to use my personal favorite. This is dictionary.com. Let's see if they got it here. Dictionary.net, free dictionary. Let's try that one. A fan wheel, a fan blower, one who fans. Oh man, damn. Is it that? Might have to go to Edom. Let's go to Edom online. Damn. All right. Cut out the middleman there. All right, let's see. Fanner. All right. Let's see. I said fanner, not finger. What the hell? No. What? No. What the hell? Let's do it this way then. Might take me to BibleStudy.com or something. Fanner. And the Bible. All right. Bible Hub. Let's see. All right. Fanner. In biblical terminology, a fanner refers to an implement or person involved in the process of winnowing, which is the act of separating grain from chaff. Okay. The term is often used metaphorically in scriptures to describe Most High's judgment and purification. All right, Jeremiah, where's the one? Let's see. Yeah, I will send strangers, this is Jeremiah 51:2, to Babylon to winnow her and to empty her land, for they will come against her from every side in the day of disaster. This passage uses the metaphor of fanning to describe the destruction and desolation that will come upon Babylon as a result of the Most High's judgment. All right, the fanners are strangers, are the invading forces that the Most High uses to execute His will. All right, let's see. The act of fanning or winnowing in the Bible often symbolizes purification and judgment. We've already gone over that. Just as a fanner separates the valuable grain from the worthless chaff, the Most High discerns and separates the righteous from the wicked. This process is not only a form of judgment, but also a means of refining and purifying His people. All right, let's see. In a broader theological context, the role, all right, right here, of the fanner can be seen as part of God's redemptive plan, where judgment serves as a precursor to restoration and renewal. This dual aspect of judgment and purification is central to understanding the nature of the Most High's dealings with His creation through the biblical narrative. All right, now let's see. And mine was, God dang it. Mine was Psalms 58:3. Let's see. Why isn't that? I just want to make sure here. Let's see. Is it fan or fanner? Hold on. Salakia. Let's see. Let's see. What the hell? Anyway, let's go back to that. Estranged. So you got the wicked here, Salakia. And ultimately, what's going to happen to them? They're going to be, all right, separated. All right. That's a given. That's what's going to happen. That's a guarantee. All right. So no hope, no hope, no hope. They're done. All right. Let's see. Let's go back and finish this. Well, let's see what I got here. Global movements, reparations, Black Lives Matter, push for redress and justice. But you're never going to get it. Because like I say, you're dealing with a people that don't give a fuck. By nature, these people could give a shit about us or what they put anybody through. But when it happens to them, oh, everybody's got to pay. In case you haven't noticed. In short, chattel slavery evolved from legal ownership of people to subtler systemic forms of exploitation. Go from rocking the might, you're being exploited, all right, by guess who? The JOOs. So thereby, under this system, you will never own anything for that very reason, because you're being exploited. They make money off of us in so many ways. Slavery never ended. Hello? That's why they will never let us go, just like the ancient Pharaoh in Exodus. Did we not, and we're the same people, did we not build treasure cities and other things for him? The same is here. The same goes. That's what we're here. The curses that were put upon us, remember, when we go to Deuteronomy in the 28th chapter, and it's all over the Bible, but it's concentrated here. All right, and it tells you what? Let's go to 33. In fact, let's go to 28 first. Because our people, the Most High shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. What do you think that means? Blindness, that's kind of, you can't see. That's not only physical, but spiritually blind. You have no idea what's going on. Proverbs 21:16, the congregation of the dead. From the neck up, our people are dead. An astonishment of heart. Madness, of course. Just look at our people. Madness. All these. All right. But the curses, going on to 45, it says, shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not. Why? Because we hearkenest not unto the voice of the Most High. From the first verse in this chapter, all right, it tells you the good, from the 1 through 14, it tells you, hey, if you follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, these are all the blessings. But did we do that? No. In 15, in verse 15, it tells you, but these are the curses that will befall you if you don't. And from 16 to 68, I call it the Murphy's Law of the Israelites. What can go wrong will go wrong. All right? And that's what's happened to us. And until those curses are lifted, we ain't never going to be right. All right? So that's what we're out here trying to get our people to understand. We're out here, people think, and the scriptures say, the foolishness of preaching. So we understand that we look like idiots out there, but to the people, that's what we look like. But we're not trying to satisfy the people. We're trying to satisfy Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. That's all we care about. Fulfilling Ezekiel's 2nd and 3rd chapters, and Habakkuk 2nd chapter. We're the watchmen on the wall trying to tell you what the hell's going on. And it would behoove you or be in your best interest to take heed. But a lot of our people, fan their hand, make mockery, and that's okay. Laugh now, you're going to cry later. I guarantee that. All right, and it tells you 47. Oh, I'm 46. And these curses shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because why? Thou servest not the Most High thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. And he put the lowest of the low on the face of the earth over us, the so-called white man. The lowest of the low. Caveman indeed. All right? And we got to go to this motherfucker for what? In hunger, in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. This is why we're going through what we're going through. All right? No amount of education, you can have as many degrees as you want. You still have to answer to the so-called white man, these Edomites.
He let everybody know that, for lack of better words, Black Americans are the blueprint. Except for we don't have the ownership of the blueprint, and we know that. He says that we have to go, from just being cool to being capitalist, right? Owning our stuff. And I love the example that he gave. Don't go just rocking the mic. You have to own the mic as well, because, of course, we heard that whole argument about hip-hop this and hip-hop that, who owned it, who started it. But at the end of the day, Black Americans don't have the pink slip to hip-hop. We know who has the pink slip to that, but we run around screaming and hollering about something we don't own. To me, that reminds me of the conversation back in the day, and I guess it still goes on. But I remember when gangbangers was talking about, this is my block, and it's like, oh, it is? Show me the deed to the block.
See, that's the kind of thing.
Oh, I ain't got that. So then what you talking about? This is your block. And what you doing in my neighborhood? You don't own this neighborhood, right? Ownership is like bam, bam, right? There's the deed. There's my name on it and everything. We don't have that. But to his point, everybody eats off of us. They, copy everything that we're doing, and they go.
Did you just hear? Let me rewind that, because she just echoed what he was saying at the beginning, but the way she said it.
Make money off of it while we argue about what you talking about. This is your block. And what you doing in my neighborhood? You don't own this neighborhood, right? Ownership is like bam, bam, right? There's the deed. There's my name on it and everything. We don't have that. But to his point, everybody eats off of us. They, copy everything that we're doing, and they go make money off of it while we argue about silk.
Isn't that what I've been saying? In my own words, of course. They make so much money off of us. That's slavery. That's... Oh my goodness. That's why the majority of our people will not understand. They're like livestock. They're like, get up. You see Jake out here on the streets, on the corner. Ruined. This is what America has done to our people. And they will fight tooth and nail to keep it this way. That's that Proverbs 21:16. The congregation of the dead. These are people that, Zechariah 13:8, the 2/3. They don't get it. I just hope I'm not in that category. That's all I can be, as honest about it as I can. That's what we're out here working for. All right? For that penny, just like everybody else is out there on the highways and byways across the world. All right? But again, the evolution of slavery, this is what we're dealing with. This is why they will never let us go. We are so profitable to them in ways that Jake when they say they think of slavery, they think of 1865 and before. All right, some of them might associate the job as such, but still they don't understand in its totality. All right. And how much worse it's actually going to get. Because like I made reference to earlier, when you go into the Kabbalah, that Jewish mysticism bullshit, The ultimate aim, the ultimate goal of that was the digital world, which we're about to go into. And these stupid ass Christians, not understanding what they're worshiping, they allowed it to get this far. Now you can't, in your own country, you can't criticize these people because so many people bought into them being the chosen when they're anything but. It was always us. It always was us.
Instead of getting together and saying, hey, let's gatekeep our stuff. Like you said, we need to, become capitalists and create a new community and all of that other stuff. Get into commerce because we make everything
It's
cool.
not gonna
and
work.
I always use the example about the Crocs. Y'all know
It's not going to work. We built over 200 communities of our own and they were all destroyed for the same reason I've been making this video. Well, I've been trying to tell you during this video. It's never going to work. You just had an individual down in Texas trying to do the same thing. They cut him off at the ankles. Big reason was he ran his fucking mouth. Willie D covered that on one of his broadcasts here in the last few days. Jake, run your fucking mouth so much. You want to tell people what you want to do instead of just doing it. Man, from the from the Attorney General of Texas on down, they jumped all over that dude because you never heard them try to stop them from making an all-white community. But when he came and said, I want to start an all-black community. Oh, no. For the reasons I've been trying to get in people's head who watch this video. We got to get up out of here. For those that want to stay in this motherfucker, let them stay. Let them get burned the fuck up with this motherfucker. You don't get it. It's like you would think, all right, if you didn't want to be around us, you make all this commotion about, we're leading in crime, which we're not. It's all bullshit. All you have to do is read the FBI crime statistics. All right. But yet you don't want to let us go. You don't want to let us be by ourselves. We got to get away from these people, man.
Those ugly little plastic little shoes, where usually it was like white women wearing them, and when you see them, it's like, But when black people got a hold of them, we, pimped them out and a whole lot of other stuff, then it became really cool to wear Crocs and a whole host of other things, right? The way we cook our food, the way we talk, even me doing that.
Yeah.
Right? That's, black women, we kind of talk with our hands. I know I talk with my hands, right? But now we see everybody doing it. Gay white dudes, they be, all this, that.
And what other nation is known for talking with their hands? Italians, namely Sicilians.
The other, that comes from us. But we don't own any of that stuff. And then we sit up and complain. Of course, we saw that whole little TikTok conversation where the white girls was copying the black dancers who made up those dances, and they got all the accolades. And even now, you can see them. They got record deals, TV deals, all kind of stuff. And I don't even know what happened to those black creators. Now, for a minute, the black creators on TikTok was like, well, bet we gonna just not do nothing and see what they come up with. And it was not good. What they came up with. They needed black people to, put them on so that they can go on and pretend like they, indeed is something. But to Mr. Bryan's point, we got to really shift our focus into becoming owners of our stuff and stop allowing everybody else to eat off of us for free. So anyway.
Which goes to what? We having no real power. We don't have any power. All right, whether you call it by accident or not, with this last voting cycle and not participating in these protests, which is what they actually wanted, people are starting to ask questions now. We weren't out there protesting for Northern Kingdom But that's Northern Kingdom's fault. All right, because I mean it's another video, but you know everybody's taking notice. So where are the blacks at? Where? Aha! See, we're important after all. But now that I think of it, this is on my mind because you know, they are right. We've been saying this all along, but you have to understand. Like I said, this is a spiritual thing. This is Jeremiah. Is it 50 or 51? I keep getting it. Let's see. I think it's 51. Hold on. Here it is. Yeah, 51:19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Most High Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, is his name. So that is, we are unique, and everybody knows that. They want to take from us, but they don't want us around at the same time. How twisted is that? Yeah, like he said at the beginning of this video, when he spoke. All right. If we say it goes, hey, it's popular around the world. If we say it's a dud, it's a dud. Yet, we have no real power. All right. And they know this. This is the way they want to keep it. Again, making money off of just us. Our vibe. For those of you that are not familiar with the inventions, I'm just talking about here in America, where, you know, so many inventions were stolen, and that's going on to this day. You've got Jake over in Africa that made inventions. They mysteriously ended up dead. There was one here in the States that his machinery was sabotaged. He almost lost his life. There was a Jake in when the water incident happened in Flint, Michigan. He came up with this machine that would just create water out of the air, and someone stole that. I was reading up on that. I forgot the guy's name now, but it shouldn't be that hard to look it up. So this happens to us, you know. That's why, hey, but we know this guy's going. We know these people are not guys. These people, these Edomites are going down. They know it. All right, that's why things are going to speed up. You're going to see more advertisements for. They're going to use these stupid ass celebrities that they own, like Kanye and others, to try to get our people to take these chips. All right, that's what they own them for, you know, and that's the ultimate. They want to own us. They want the spirit. They own everything else. They want your soul, but they're not going to be allowed to get it. All right. So with that, I hope whoever, you know, once again, this has been a video, a couple of comments. Ownership and structure is the key. Yeah, but what? The truth. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Time for thinking ahead. All right. Yeah, as simple as this statement might be right here, black folks need to want power. First of all, I'm so sick of that black shit. We're not black. But really that's saying something. Again, we've always said our people don't have a rulership mentality. They don't. They don't. Let's see. Yeah, and again, these people, you're seeing these comments. They don't have a spirit with them. All right. They don't have the Holy Spirit in them. All right. For the most part. Keep going black civilization and all this shit. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because this is the young lady here. Her name is Demetra K. Capitalism is evil and wicked. Yes, it is. All right. And this doesn't appear to be one of us. Let me read it in its entirety. Demetra K. Capitalism is evil and wicked. I am not against your people owning anything. However, I am against greedy capitalism. Worker cooperatives need to replace greedy capitalism. That will never happen because it's too much money. And that's why this beast system has to be destroyed. You know, it's the European Union, under the Treaty of Rome. Why is it called the Treaty of Rome? Because this is the revived Roman Empire. All right, this is what this is. NATO, all of this, with America as the military arm of it. All right, but it's through. That's what it's always been. And you're seeing the true rulers of America, all right, which is that little country over there called Israel, which there's no Israelites currently occupied there. All right, it's Edomites pretending to be, they're called Israelis. That just means they're occupiers of the land. But it's a stolen identity. These people have a history of that. Going back to the 10th century, they were referred to as the name stealers. Moab, who you call Chinese today, were very aware of them and dealt with them. There's a whole history there, all right? And that's what we try to encourage our people to do. Search history. And you match it up, secular history, with the scriptures. All right? So with that, as you can hear, my voice is going. So once again, I hope whoever views my videos has been edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. Filter everything through the scriptures as it should be. And let you know, hey, what time you're in. And the time that you're in now is a very dangerous time. All right, because we're coming down to the end here, and this is what the prophecies will tell you. If you're, you have this, the Holy Spirit working with you. All right, yeah, it's getting ready to get real fucked up out here. All right, I can't say it any other way. Real dangerous times coming to. That's why I always encourage you, try to remain circumspect. Keep your head on a swivel out here. Because like the other scripture says, the love of many grow cold. And you see it each and every day. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.